What's going on, guys? Welcome to Frank's Media and Reviews, and welcome to the 9th episode of my video series, The Physical Media Club. This is the video series where I get to interview people who are in the physical media world and the horror genre. Today's guest started his YouTube channel in 2012. With his knowledge and love for music, the horror genre, and physical media, his channel has grown to over 30,000 subscribers. For those who don't know, he is a man of many talents, which includes being a musician and co-creating a candle company called Unita Candles. All I have to say is thank goodness it's candles and not bars of soap, because if he starts referring to himself as Tyler Durden, then we all better watch out. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you your old pal, Christian from Planet CHH. What's going on, Christian?
That was great, dude. You know what? I gotta say, how the hell are those steel books just like on the wall? I was looking, and you were talking. It's got to be a magnet, right?
Yes, sir. I got the idea from Jacob from Steelbook Obsess. I saw one of his videos because you know how the algorithm is. It just popped up, and I was like, "Holy dang! That I love that type of design." And in my videos, there's just this blank wall, so I thought, why not just fill it up? And
That's so cool.
Yeah. I like it. You know, they're interchangeable. You can just change them out super quick. Had some hiccups, of course, but then found a perfect way to keep them stable and everything. So yeah. Thank you, Kristen, for joining my video series. But tell everyone who, of course, doesn't know you. Just let them know about your channel and then who you are.
Yeah. So thank you for the invite. It's a pleasure, and I appreciate it. My channel name is Planet CHH. I don't know how much we're gonna get into this, so I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. I used to be Christian Hannah Horror, but I changed it to Planet CHH for a variety of reasons. Maybe we'll get into that. If not, I've talked about it before, but we'll see. Yeah, you can find me on here on YouTube. I talk a lot about horror. I have a room that's just dedicated to horror movies. I have another movie room that's pretty much like retro. So I talk about a lot of movies, but horror is such a big part of who I am. So that's kind of what when I think most people, when they think about my channel, they'll if my name gets mentioned in a way, a couple movies will get brought up. Nightmare on Elm Street stuff or Return of the Living Dead. Probably Return of the Living Dead, but maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, it's funny. Like my channel really didn't. I can't even remember my channel really started as a physical media channel, but I've been collecting movies since 2008 or so. So that's really what my channel is. It's a physical media channel, and I've been doing that since too long. I've been doing, like you said, since 2012. Man, it's been a slow grind, but I love doing it, man. I really love talking about especially movies that, man, when I'm not looking for an algorithm video. I watch something that I'm like, can I curse on here?
Hell yeah.
If I'm tasteful, if I'm tasteful,
Yeah.
I'll watch a movie and I'll be like, man, I'm so fucking in love with this movie. I just want to talk about it and figure out a way to make people excited about it. Like a ridiculous low budget zombie film that was called Return of the Living Dead in Germany. And I get so excited about that stuff. That's really what my channel is about. So yeah, that's me. And you can find me on social media, pretty much anything that's Planet C. You can find me Planet CHH on, I think, everything. I ended up making a Facebook page. So you can find me on there, Twitter and Instagram and all that.
Yep. All those links will be down in the description section as well. So we will start the interview or this video with a couple icebreakers, and then we'll just kind of go with the interview process.
Sure.
The interview
Whatever you
itself.
want to do. Let's do it.
Yeah. I got some. We're going deep tonight. So
Hell yeah.
So first icebreaker question is, as I mentioned earlier, that you're a man of many talents. What's been your favorite memory as a musician? That could include when you were a kid, just discovering music, being a teenager, or even current times.
I'll give you a couple answers because I wish it could be as black and white as just giving you one. I I can't even really remember the name of the label, to be honest with you. It was a very, very indie kind of thing, but I had a band called Not Away. We were able to sign up. We were able to record our record in Atlanta, Georgia at Avatar Studios in 2011. You can still find the record out there, Not Away, Where Angels Demons Collide. And I got to not only meet a lot of rock stars, but Clint Lowry from Seven Dust actually does a solo on a song we did called Where Do I Belong, which is really cool. And I've been able to open up for a lot of great bands like Taproot, Saliva, although they were kind of jerks, Trapped, Hell Yeah. Got to meet Vinnie Paul. I've had the opportunity to open up for a lot of amazing bands that were really influential to my, coming up and things like that. And, I've never really talked about this on a super personal level. I think a lot of people that watch my channel, I can't help but just talk, even if it has nothing to do with the video. I'll start a video out saying something totally off the wall. It has nothing to do with it because that's just my style. But honestly, Frank, I'm going to tell you, one of my favorite things in music of all time is finding Alice Cooper. He's my hero. I found him at a really important time in my life where I wasn't doing really well. And he was just like this beam of light, this man who doesn't quit. He is the greatest rock and roll icon of all time. He's a good guy. And I fell in love with his music. I fell in love with the person. Finding Alice Cooper really saved my life. I can't even lie to you. That's why he's on me. He's my hero. So finding Alice changed me. He's my hero. That and sharing the stage with some great, great bands, Frank. I've had some awesome experiences, really great experiences with music.
Hell yeah, man. That's fantastic because I know for me, music is a big part of myself. I was a band geek, so
me too. Like, I was too. Drumline.
Okay, yeah. I was percussion. I was also in symphonic and jazz band. I did marching band. So I did all of that type of stuff. But so I kind of just dived into a lot of different genres. Like Led Zeppelin was very. That band meant a lot to me. James Brown, 9 Inch Nails. I simply love Downward Spiral. That's one of my favorite albums of all time.
Nice.
I mean, obviously I can go on and on, but like, yeah, it's just music is very powerful, just as of course as movies themselves. But
right.
Yeah, I think for me individually, like it's like 1 and 2. I'm very passionate about music just as much as I am with music. So
we're gonna
movies are music. Yeah,
we're gonna get along. We're gonna get along. Yeah.
So
I'll tell you this right now, Frank. Some of my favorite movies of all time, the music is like, if you're gonna ask me why do I love it, my answer for some of them were like the first thing I'm gonna say is the soundtrack. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Okay. What's your favorite soundtrack, man? At least give a couple.
See, this it's such a nerdy answer. I'm gonna tell it to you. My favorite soundtrack is Return of the Living Dead Part 2.
Okay.
There's an artist named Julian Cope who's become one of my favorite musicians on planet Earth. If you've seen the movie in the beginning of Return of the Living Dead Part 2, when the guy that's driving the military truck is, driving in the rain, there's a song that kicks in. It's this fast-paced kind of rock song. I loved it. I was like, I got to figure out who that is. So I found out who it was. It was Space Hopper by Julian Cope. So I found him online. I found the record. St. Julian's the name of the record. And I listened to it top to bottom. I had never heard anything like this in my life. It's one of my St. Julian's in my top 5 records of all time. I implore anybody that's into 80s non-commercial psychedelic pop rock to check it out. It's truly, the lyrics are insanely cool. Julian Cope is nice. He was in a band called The Teardrop Explodes. He's kind of like a savant. Like he's a really revered guy, not in America. A lot of my favorite things are not popular in America that are popular overseas. But yeah, Return of the Living Dead 2 made me find Julian Cope, which is it's incredible. He's become one of my favorite artists ever.
Love it. Heck yeah. What has been your favorite movie experience with your child?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What has been, because you're a father, correct?
No, I don't have any kids.
Oh, I thought you did. Oh, well then, blah, blah, blah. Well, how about what's been your favorite movie experience with your partner?
Um, good question. It's funny, when I first met Sydney, she was like, I could get her to watch anything. Now Frank, I'm gonna tell you, Frank, I've pushed her too far. I'll come home and I'll say, Sydney, this movie has like a 1 on IMDb. It's called Night Beast. It's from like she's like, oh God, I can't take it, Christian. I can't take it. I know we've all experienced a lot of movies. I'll tell you what, man. When me and two of them, one of them's fairly recent, the other one is pre-COVID for sure.
Mhm.
My wife is like a brick wall when it comes to like getting scared. Like nothing bothers her. When we watched Hereditary, that was the first time in a long time my wife was actually just like, holy shit, this is really, really good. Like I could tell Tony Collette and all was like
Mm.
bothering her. That was really cool. And the second, I'm a really big found footage junkie. Like when I like something, Frank, I'm like an addict.
It's my
I can't,
favorite subgenre.
yeah, I can't get enough of it. And it was last year's Halloween. I had been up all morning, up all day. I was off work. I know I was off work. My wife was working. She got home and I was fighting to stay awake because I just can't stay awake much anymore. I'm always falling asleep, like at like 4 in the evening, 5 even. But it was Halloween night, and I love Hell House, and they had just dropped Origins.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget this. It's really not even it's not even like an experience thing, but I'll never forget this. I remember, again, my wife, like she's never impressed by any movies. Nothing impresses her. But I remember we started watching Origins and I was loving it, but I was so exhausted. I'm passing out. My wife, she's like, she gets up, she wakes up, she goes, Christian, you need to wake up. I was like, what? She goes,
Get your ass up.
she goes, but no, she never does. She never does wake up, but she did, Frank. She said, Christian, this movie is fucking good. Like it's creeping me out. And literally my wife has never done that, where she's actually stopped, woken me up and said, no, like this, Christian, this movie's,
Mm-hmm.
she wanted me to be awake. That's how good that movie was to us. So there's other stuff, man. But like I remember I dragged her to. I'm a big Jean-Claude Van Damme fan. I remember I wanted to go see when Van Damme was going to be in Expendables 2. It was huge for me, right? So I remember I drug her to the theater, and nobody would go with me. They're like, I'm not going to a midnight, because this is during the midnight
Okay.
showings, Frankie. This before
The good old days.
you know. And she went with me because we had been dating maybe 4 or 5 months, but she went with me. A lot of them, man. A lot of just, it goes together with just our life experience together,
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of good memories. A lot of good memories. We've watched movies that we've hated together. Like there was a movie we saw called had one of them little bastards from Stranger Things in it. It's called like The Turning or something. We just hated it. Laughed at it the whole time. Why? Yeah, we have fun with stuff like that too.
Yeah.
But it's my wife, we have a lot of fun watching movies together, or when I make her watch something
Mm-hmm.
that she doesn't want to watch. That's usually my favorite.
Yeah. First off, how long have you guys been married?
We've been married since 2017. We met
Okay.
in like late 2011, started dating in 12, something
Okay.
like that.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. I've been we've been married since 2012, and I know sometimes if you're in a long ass relationship or marriage, you get comfortable, and sometimes because my wife, she knows that I watch a lot of horror films. She doesn't really like the genre at all, and so sometimes I'm like, why? How in the hell are we married? Or she'll say, how in the hell are we married? So, because like, yeah, she's big into country music. I don't like country music, and but there's obviously the opposites attract, and so
You know what?
yeah.
That's true, Frank. But every now and again, my wife will rub off on me with something, and she'll get like, she made me a huge Twin Peaks fan. My wife was a genuine David Lynch fan.
Mm,
I never was into David Lynch, but I say I wasn't into him. I never
Watch
You
this
know,
stuff.
she made me watch Eraserhead. Frank, let me tell you, like, I had never seen anything like this movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite David Lynch film. And then she got me into Twin Peaks. Oh, it changed me. And then she got me prepped for when we started watching it together. And like America, I don't know if you've seen Twin Peaks, but the story goes like it started out with it's probably the greatest debut episode of television ever made. I mean, it's
Oh, really?
incredible. Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, truly. And I don't think people realize that, how influential it was when it came out, but like it got weird because it's David Lynch. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
people stopped watching. So then the show didn't last very long. It was 2 seasons. So the
Mm-hmm.
second season was basically a long season. But my point is, I watched it with her, and I started just falling in love with this David Lynch guy. And then he had announced that he was doing season 3, so we watched that together. That's probably another memory we had because she was excited that I was excited. I think that's something
Mm-hmm.
that's really cool is when you show somebody something, especially like your partner,
Mm-hmm.
and they genuinely get into it. I think it's a
Mm-hmm.
really cool thing. So I know that that was big for her, that I became a big David Lynch fan, you know?
Yeah. No, that's actually a really good point. That feeling, that connection
Mhm.
that you have with your partner. Hell yeah. Um, so the question is, okay. So is why did you start your YouTube channel back in 2012? Because the earlier videos, I want to say it was music based. You're playing the piano and then a couple videos in, then you talked you dove into like your collection, and then I want to say your first review was Return of the Living Dead back then. So but
Was it
like,
really?
yeah, yes sir.
Well, I'll tell you what, Frank. Let me answer the last part first. Why was it? You're basically asking me why was your channel basically just like a potluck, aimless channel? Because Frank, no, and Frank, that's what it was. I'm gonna tell you exactly why. Frank, you have to understand something. Back then, just putting a video on that website was like this real. It felt like a huge deal. Like
Mm-hmm,
we talk about getting milestones and like getting 1,000 subscribers or getting your first 1,000 views or getting 500 views and the way it feels like today. Dude, just back then, Frank, uploading a video on a website, it was a brand new thing. So just doing that gave you a euphoric high of
mm-hmm,
like, holy shit, this video was on a website that people could potentially see. The
mm-hmm,
potentiality back then was beyond cool enough. So I was literally just getting high off of uploading stuff.
mm-hmm,
It's God's honest truth. Why did I start? One man, Pisel.
mm-hmm,
I found his chance. So I say Pisel. Pisel was the needle mover. So around 2009, um, my brother took me to Spirit Halloween and just on just a trip, just took
mm-hmm,
me to go there. And I'll tell you, Frank, I went there and of course I knew who Michael, Freddy, Jason, all these characters were, but I had never really watched all these movies before. I was the kind of kid that growing up, whatever was going on, whatever was popular, Frank, that's what I did. When I was in elementary school, wrestling was really big, WWF, all that, WCW. I watched all that with my friends. That's what we talked about. After that, hip hop started getting really big. It was like a bunch of little white kids listening to 50 Cent's Funny, thinking back now to it. Whatever was popular, whatever was going on, Frank, that's what I was doing.
mm-hmm,
And it's not that horror wasn't that, but like that's not what my friends were like. I wasn't like talking to my friends at that time, like, dude, have you seen Halloween 4? Like, no, I didn't do like that wasn't
mm-hmm,
pop culture really. So what happened was, but of course I'd seen bits and pieces here and there, this stuff, but I go to Spirit Halloween and I'm saying I'm just enamored with everything. I'm like, man, the culture of this is so cool. The vibe, like I could feel the aesthetic of horror in the building with me. And so I started watching all those movies. And at the same time, my brother had shown me the Angry Video Game Nerd because I grew up playing Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo and all that. And what happened was, this is the answer to your question. Really, this is the germ of everything starting. He showed me the episode of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Atari, and I just was like, "Holy shit, this is fucking amazing." And ended up what happened was I went to this guy's page and found out he had a website, Cinemassacre. And then I saw he started doing movie reviews, and then I was like, that was the first time I learned really what a movie review was, just hearing somebody talk about a movie and giving their thoughts. And I saw him talk about Fright Night and Return of the Living Dead, and that's where I found more of his stuff on YouTube, and that's when I found Pisel a little while after that.
Mm-hmm.
And Pisel was, I was like, this guy's just talking about movies he buys and stuff like that. I can do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Pisel was like the catalyst. Pisel was not the Pisel was like the final thing that was like, I can relate to this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do this too. Regardless of the fact that for a while I was just uploading random stuff on my channel, but that was the initial kick right there was Pisel, finding Pisel's channel.
Yeah. It's funny because when I started my channel, like close to 10 months ago, I actually contributed you guys, Piz, you, and some other people, Ken, and John from Let's Talk Entertainment Media, just like people who I've just watched over time and just kind of encouraged me in some ways to start the channel. So yeah, I think it's pretty nice to find those type of individuals you connect with and then are pretty influential for you to start your own channel. So what's it like being a content creator now from what it was back then in 2012? Like just seeing like the landscape, I guess, of YouTube and you know, obviously just you go a little bit about it because again, I don't know much about how it was back then because you said it earlier, just how euphoric it was, that feeling of just putting out a video. You know, you've seen a lot of changes throughout the time of YouTube and how content creators have changed over time as well. But how's it changed for you?
I can give you two answers here, Frank. I can give you a real kind of I can give you the real answer. I mean, I can give you how I really feel, or I can give you a politically correct answer. You tell me which one you want. And
Well,
don't edit this because
I don't
I'm
edit
being real.
anything on. Yeah, man. Tell me honest. I mean, my viewers know that how honest I am. So yeah, go ahead.
I'll give it to you, Frank. I'm gonna tell you right now. It's a job now. I love doing it, but for me at this point, it's a job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the point, and I'll go into more because it's not just about this. I'm at the point now to where, you know, I'm getting enough ad revenue that I'm making a little bit of money. It's humble. It's nothing to brag about. I'm proud of it. It's nothing to brag about, but I have to. It's a part of my. It's a part of my revenue that I can pay my bills. So it's different now. Now on the technical, now, but I love doing it. You know, I really love doing it, and I try not to. Not to ever disrespect my audience by, you know, not doing my due diligence on things. I get things wrong. I do silly stuff sometimes, but I try my best when I review something to give it to them straight and not act like if I bought something silly to try to convince them to do it.
Like the chainsaw thing. That was one of the best videos I've ever seen, dude.
You know what? I thought I handled that fairly well.
Dude.
But let me give you an example of a mistake I make. I say it's a mistake. I just did a review for The Tenant from Vinegar Syndrome, and Frank, I talked about what features came on that release, but I didn't have time to watch the features. I just went over what it had in the video, and I was talking about how, you know, I actually like the gentleman that's the star of the movie. I thought he was really good. People were like, "You dumbass, that's him. That's Polanski himself." And I was like, shit, I didn't realize that. Most people just laughed it off, but a couple of people were like, you're a fraud. I'm like, come on, give me a break. I didn't know what Roman Polanski looked like as a young guy, and I was getting coffee in the beginning of the movie when the credits were playing, so I didn't see he was like starring Roman. But let me elaborate a little bit more, Frank, because I feel like I'm being a little too shallow about it. What's the difference between then and now? The difference between then, Frank, was it was actually really hard to get any views, to actually get noticed. Now, because I don't, people use the word community today. I don't, it's not that I dislike that word. But I just say to myself, well, is it that, or it's just there's a huge pool now of like I just feel like you're a part of a big net to where people are searching something now that's more well known, movie reviews, this kind of stuff, this kind of stuff. Back then, dude, the term movie review wasn't even something I was aware of. Like I remember just for like the first couple of years, dude, getting views and building an audience, dude, it didn't even seem feasible, much less
Mm-hmm.
possible back then. It was truly the Wild West. And um it really was just throwing videos on the website was like the coolest, was like it was good enough, Frank. I mean, it really was good enough. And I saw a lot of people just doing it back then, just go away and never come back for one
Mm-hmm.
reason or other. I don't know the reasons for everything. But what ended up happening down the road, Frank, was all of a sudden technology in people's hands and the daily use of technology started to improve, and it got to a point to where, okay, now, I remember there was a point around 2017 or 18. I said to myself, okay, if I'm actually going to continue to do this, I've been doing it long enough now to where it's like eating and sleeping, right? Like that's how often I was doing video stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
remember I would watch Pisel. And I'm going to tell you something, Frank. I am the kind of person, if I see people that I like doing good things, I ask questions. I don't get, I'm not nosy, but I ask questions. I'll bug people about stuff. I'm like, hey, Piz, dude, your videos look way better than everybody's right now. What are you doing? Oh, well, I got this kind of webcam. I got a microphone. Well, how do you power a microphone with a computer? Oh, well, you have to have this, or you got to get this. I'm like, oh, okay, okay. Not trying to rip him off, but
Mm-hmm.
trying to understand, trying to learn. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, man, if he's improving, clearly that's something I need to do as well. Learn, ask questions. And I remember there was a point where I was like, the tides really started turning on YouTube to where just taking your phone and holding it at yourself or putting it on a bed with your movie on the bed and talking, that's not cutting it, because people are starting to look at YouTube as their cable television now, and they're
Yeah.
watching this more regularly. You have to present a more professional product.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember that's when that's about the time where it was like a new era has begun. The Wild West days are gone.
Mm-hmm.
You have to start improving, start presenting a better package to your audience. If it sounds bad, they're going to dip. If it
Mm-hmm.
looks bad, they're going to dip. If you say too many uhs, they're going to dip. So it started changing logistically. It also started changing just the way you did it. You know, the Wild West days of just taking your iPhone 3GS and filming stuff, literally hitting the red button once, then hitting it again, and then pressing upload, were gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an adjustment period for a long time, man. I've
Hmm.
since kind of rebelled against the way things are, but I could talk about that later. But yeah, man, it's just, I guess it was a natural progression the way things change, and I don't dislike the way it is now, because I'm having so much fun now. I'm finally starting to reap the benefits a little bit of not giving up, Frank. I saw
Mm-hmm.
so many people start around my time that are just gone, gone. I never quit. I
Mm-hmm.
never gave up. There are times I wanted to. There are times I really wanted to blame other people for, why is my channel not growing? Why is my channel, what are they doing that's better than me? Right? Like, I'd have those moments, Frank. And finally, I looked myself in the mirror maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. I said, you can bitch and you can complain, or you can actually start putting in work and being honest with yourself. Are you doing the best you can?
Mm-hmm.
The answer was no. So I said, I'm going to change, and I'm going to work my fucking ass off, and I'm not going to complain. And I'm finally starting to see the fruits of that, you know?
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because my two questions are very they have
Sorry, I'll
around that
ramble. You got to
topic.
cut me off. Just cut
Oh
me off.
yeah. Was uh one is because your channel has evolved throughout the how long it's been.
Right.
Is that why did you rebrand your YouTube channel a few years ago? Because it was formerly Christian Hannah Horror.
Right.
So Again, so why did you rebrand your YouTube channel? Because now it's Planet CHH.
Again, Frank, I'm gonna give you the real deal. I'm gonna give it to you real, like no filter, no bullshit. You know, sometimes when I get asked about this, I keep it brief, but I'm gonna tell you exactly how I felt, because we're gonna establish your channel as a place of truth and like a no BS place. We're gonna establish that right now.
Yeah.
Okay, Frank, there's no way in hell you just watch horror movies. Zero chance. Am I right?
Oh, I started off by watching martial arts movies with my dad.
Perfect.
So
So
yeah.
here's my point. When I started my channel, dude, I was falling in love with so many things besides horror. Now, horror's huge. Truly. I mean, it's tattooed on me all over myself, right? But Frank, you will not find a bigger Jean-Claude Van Damme fan than me. You will not find a bigger, well, maybe you will, but my point is I love Stallone. I'm the biggest Chevy Chase fan on the planet. I have a Boston Terrier. His name is Chevy Chase, right? I love these things. I'm a retro video gamer. And what ended up happening was I just started focusing my videos on horror. And that started where I started to get a little bit of a, you know, I'd trickle a few people in from this, I'd trickle a few people from that, and I'd continue my channel that path. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having just a horror channel. I want to make sure I say that right up front. But what ended up happening was I didn't stop my love for, you know, I'd talk to my wife, I'd talk her ear off about Double Impact. I'd talk her ear off about Steven Seagal's Under Siege. I talk my wife's ear off about why Rocky 5 is really not a bad movie, like, and stuff like that. And every now and again, I would do it on my YouTube channel, and it would either tank or just people would say, "This isn't horror."
Mm-hmm.
And to their point, my channel was in fact called Christian Hannah Horror. In 2018, I was pretty close to my wits end. I'll put it to you like that, of just feeling like I boxed myself in, and I felt like, you know, you always hear people talk about, oh, well, the algorithm's going to punish you if you try to go outside of what you're known for, stuff like that. And in 2018, I did a video where it was just like some kind of like haul video or something, where I was just, you know, I bought a bunch of shit. So I was like, well, I may as well just show it off.
Mm-hmm.
Or talk about it. Showing off is a stupid way to word that. But in that video, I said, hey guys, I'm thinking about changing my channel name to just Christian Hannah, because every now and again, I might want to talk to you guys about Terminator, or I want to talk to you guys about Back to the Future. I want to talk to you guys about, you know, Vegas Vacation or whatever. And the comment section in 2018, when I did that video, was not good. It was like, not really interested in that.
Mm.
I mean, I was kind of surprised that people were that honest with me. Like, why not
Mm-hmm.
lie to me? Yeah, some people were even like, and it's not that it's not that I'm upset about this, but at the time, people were like, yeah, you can do that. I'll be honest with you, Christian. I have no interest in what you think about this or that, but you know, you can feel free to do it. I'm just going to watch your horror stuff. That's what I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your videos I enjoy. I remember if I can remember the name of the video, the problem was it wasn't a video called I Need to Talk to You, or, you know, it wasn't a video that was designed to be the topic of that. It was just a video where I said, hey guys, before we get into this, I want to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
So I got really bummed out when I read the comments, and then I got cold feet and I didn't change anything. I said I was going to do it, and I said, but I want to ask you guys what you think. And the comments were like, no. So that was 2018. I trucked along, just kept, you know, doing my thing. I'd talk about horror movies I'd talk about horror movies with that. And then 2 years ago, I finally was truly at my wit's end. I mean, really, and I didn't talk about it publicly. I remember telling my wife, I was like, Sydney, listen, I mean, it's not gonna be a big deal, but like I'm gonna be making a little less money because I think I'm done with YouTube. I think I'm done. Like, I'm just sick. I'm sick. She's like, what? And I was like, you know, I love horror so much, but I can't. It kills me that, you know, I feel like I can't talk about a different movie every now and again, or talk about what my favorite comedies or my favorite this or that, mostly 80s stuff. But,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I was like, I remember asking people, blah, blah, blah. And then we talked about it for a little bit. And ultimately, what ended up happening, Frank, was my wife says, why are you asking people what you can do in your channel? And I was like, it's not like she was telling me something I didn't know, but it was just like, you know what? Fuck. Are you really going to use an algorithm as an excuse? Like,
Mm-hmm.
why are you being such a bitch, Christian? Like, man up. So people can find this video. It's called After 10 Years on YouTube, I Need to Talk. It's called something like that. And I laid it out. I said, listen, guys, I'm at my wit's end. I love horror, but I feel sick when I walk in this room. I feel truly sick. I've been doing this for so long, and I haven't been able to. I feel like you guys really don't know who I am, and maybe it's the internet. So I'm only here for. I film 7-8 minute videos. Maybe you shouldn't know, but I feel like after 10 years, you should have a decent idea. I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel like you guys have a goddamn clue who I am. Some of you. So here's how I got the channel name, because a lot of people have no idea what Planet CHH is, homaging, ripping off,
Mm-hmm.
which means that's probably a lot of younger people. I told my wife about this. We had this discussion, and I was like, I need to change my name. But my name, Christian Head, is so boring. I want it to be something fun. I want it to be something that's, you're not going to hear it anywhere else. People don't want to type out Christian Hannah horror, and Christian Hannah is already long enough, right? It's 4 syllables. It's enough to type out. It's enough to say. So people called me CHH. I like that. That's fine. I'm a wrestling fan. Sounds like Triple H, whatever. So I like that. I didn't want to lose that, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what happened, Frank. I'm on the internet, just like, I don't know what I was doing, just maybe scrolling through Instagram. And my whole thing was, physical media by this point is what my channel is about. And I was like, man, I want to be able to, if I get something really cool. I remember when Back to the Future, the trilogy, came out in 4K. I was like, fuck, I can't talk about this. I want to talk about this. Like, I want to talk about it so bad. This was around that time, I feel. So what ended up happening was, I'm scrolling on Instagram or whatever. A picture of Stallone comes up on my phone. And I don't know. I'm not a super religious guy, but I'm very spiritual, and I believe in moments, right?
Yeah.
Signs, if you will. I just watched the movie again. Dude, it was poetic. When I saw this image, it truly hit me. The whole thing. Boom, the logo, all of it hit me. It's a picture of Stallone from like 92, 91, and he's got a jacket on. He's got a Planet Hollywood jacket on. When I was a kid, my dad would take me and my brother to Planet Hollywood all the time. And I was like, holy shit, Planet Hollywood. That's all about movies. CHH, Planet CHH. Maybe people will get it. I'll explain it to them. But I thought it sounded cool. Boom. It hit me. I knew that's what I wanted to do. That's what I was going to rebrand this channel to. And I haven't looked back. And I think it really saved my channel. And it saved me because I'm so happy doing what I do now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the God's honest truth. But I was that close. I was telling City, I was like, City, I'm done. I'm burnt. I get sick coming in my movie room, my horror movie. I'm sick to my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
It saved me, Frank. It really did. So I'm glad I did it. And that's the truth. That's why I rebranded, man. And I'll tell you, my favorite video I've done this year is not a horror movie whatsoever. I did a video about peanut butter solution. I had such a good time talking about that. And it did good for my channel. It did really good for my channel. It was a funny video, I thought. And as long as it's physical media, I think I'm lucky enough to where I can keep a certain amount of interest.
Mm-hmm.
Great, which opens my doors up, and I'm happy, man. I'm happy. So that's the unedited, just brutal truth to why I rebranded.
Well, thank you for telling me. The reason why I brought that up is because I was watching actually live of your town hall meeting that you had back in September, so just a couple months ago, and you talked about the self-reflection. You talked about this experience that you just described with your wife, and I thought it was a very genuine moment, and since your self-reflection, I wanted to point it out. I'm pretty sure you're well aware of it as well, because all of us content creators are we know the damn numbers and everything. But since that self-reflection that you stated that you had in that video,
Mm-hmm.
is that you were around 19,000 subscribers, and your channel has grown tremendously since that moment. And you've grown 12,000 subscribers within that time span. Um, and so what you had was that self-reflection, and how I really liked what you said, is that applying that self-reflection to one's goal and just accomplishing it. And for you, it was a great step forward, for you individually as a content creator. And you've seen your channel just grow tremendously, within that time span. So I mean, I think all of us have that type of moment, because you went into detail a little bit as well, of seeing just other people, of, you wish, you are glad for that content creator success, but you're wondering why the
Why
hell,
not me?
yeah, why not me? And so I think that was a very genuine, talk, a reflection that all of us kind of go through, not even like as a content creator, but just like any day of life,
Yeah.
right? And so I just really love that moment. And for me, I thought that was one of my favorite moments since being a viewer of your channel, was that raw moment. And so, which I appreciate as a viewer.
Thank you.
So yeah, I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to bring that up.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, um, with that, um, why and when did you start collecting your physical media? And that's one of the things too I wanted to talk about, is because you talked about all this terminology and stuff, like before I even became like a big, I don't know, I started recollecting back in 2019, but
Uh-huh.
prior to that, I never called it damn physical media. I just called it like DVDs and like,
Right.
so
Movies.
yeah, movies and everything else. So like, yeah, I mean, I think that's funny how everything has evolved, like, right? Because now people will just fucking call you out, like, you can't call 4K DVDs, and just like that. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah, it's funny, and there's terminology today that I don't like. I like, and it's not even for a certain reason, like, just calling, like, the term content creator, again, too many syllables. I just
hmm
call me I'm a YouTuber. Like, it just is what it is, right?
yeah.
Um, so Frank, nothing in my life is like a planned out thing in a sense. Sometimes it is, I guess, but my movie collecting and my love for Friday the 13th is like this.
Yeah.
No, it really is. I'll tell you exactly why. So what happened was, going back to that time I went to Spirit Halloween, and I had been before number of times growing up,
hmm
but for some reason, just that one time in 2009 with my brother was like this awesome moment. So I
hmm
went home, and I was a senior in high school. My mom worked right next to our Blockbuster. And I said, "Mom, do me a favor, Ma. On your way home from work tomorrow, do you mind running in a Blockbuster and getting me a Nightmare on Elm Street?" She's like, "That's fine." She comes home the next day, and as a senior, I was getting off of school like earlier because I only
hmm
had, how it goes when you're
Couple
a senior.
classes. Yeah.
I was getting home at like 1 o'clock, 1:30. So my mom got home at like 4 or whatever. I was already home, and she comes home and she goes, "Here, Christian, they didn't have part one. I just got you two. I'm sorry. I hope that's all right." And I was like, "I don't care. Whatever." Like, the idea of watching a part 4 and not seeing any of them at that point, dude, to say it didn't bother me is an understatement.
hmm
I was like, yeah, but why would I care about that? It was almost like, why would that? It was so funny looking back at how blissfully stupid I was. Just like, of course, why would that bother me? So, like, why would I need to see the first one? But anyway, Frank, I had never seen a movie like Freddy's Revenge in my life. I'd seen a ton of horror movies. I remember seeing I saw Rob Zombie's Halloween in the theater with my friends because that really was kind of pop culture at the time. Rob Zombie was so huge.
Yeah.
Everybody loved him back then. But anyway, I had never really seen at that point what would really be like a cult horror movie. And dude, let me tell you, watching part 2, if I would have watched part 1, you know what, dude, there really might have been a chance I would have thought it was cool and then not wanted to watch another one after that, or not feel so compelled to make sure I made my mom grab another one after that. Again, I think it was fate that I watched part 2 first, because I sat in my bed just wide-eyed the whole time watching it, because dude, it really scared the shit out of me at the time. I mean, it really did, and still to this day, if you ask me what's the best of Nightmare on Elm Street, I'll say it's unequivocally 2, because that's not Freddy, that's the devil to me in that movie, and it really got to me, and I loved it, and I fell in love with it. So then I rented we had the Blockbuster card. At that point, this is really the last chapter of Blockbuster, so people will remember you paid like whatever a month, and you just rented as much as you wanted. So I remember I told my mom every day, just get the next one. So I plowed through the Nightmares, and after that, I had a part-time job. I was working. And so what happened, Frank, was I was like, man, I'm ready to watch the Friday the 13th movies. I bought Friday the 13th Deluxe Edition DVD, or one of them. I bought the first movie first, because that one was probably printed more than the rest of them. I remember going to FYE, because that's where I bought my movies, and I bought Friday the 13th, and I loved it. And so what happened was, well, I didn't really I loved the experience of it, but I didn't love the movie. But what happened was, I was like, man, this is cool, this DVD, just like, because I was so into horror. It was such this new amazing thing. I was like, well, I want to buy the other ones too. So my movie collection really started with Friday the 13th, those deluxe edition DVDs. And then I was buying any movie I wanted to see. I just tried to go out of my way to buy it. And that's really the start. So I've been actively collecting physical media, DVDs and stuff from that point on since 2009. And it started with Friday the 13th, just like enjoying and consciously realizing I'm buying movies. Because before that, everybody had kind of movies in their collection, but it was just happenstance. It wasn't a thing that I was like, okay, I got this new movie coming in. It's just like you kind of bought movies because that's what you did, right? So that was like my first time buying movies, where I was like, oh my God, I'm collecting these. And I'm consciously thinking about, I have the Friday movies on DVD. So that's really where it started. Was really just my love of Friday the 13th, and then it turned into becoming a physical media collector.
Nice. So do you know, because people ask, do you know how big your collection is?
I probably have, between laser discs, DVDs, Blu-rays, and all that. It's funny because it's not a brag. Sometimes, let me answer the question. I don't want to dodge it. It's like a politician. Probably, dude, somewhere between like 8 and 10,000.
Okay. Damn.
But the thing is, Frank, I never get rid of shit. So if you ask me, hey Christian, can you go grab VHS? I want to watch that. I believe I have it a couple times over. I might have it in one of those steel books. I have a DVD of it, and I have a Blu-ray of it. Like I just, I have a problem letting go of stuff. I'm not a hoarder per se. Outside of this room, my house is flawless and immaculate because my wife runs all that, but I don't know what it is, man. Like, I'll upgrade stuff, and it's hard for me to sell stuff because I'm a memory guy, especially with stores going away. Like if I go and grab I can tell you right now, my last collector's edition Scream Factory release I ever got was Vampires. Zero chance in hell I'll ever get rid of that. I'm not going to buy the 4K, but even if I did, zero chance in hell I could get rid of the Blu-ray, because man, I'd look at it and say, holy shit, that was the last time I bought a movie from FYE before it shut down in my town. So that's my problem. But, and again, another thing is just like, some people say, dude, I wish I had your collection. I'm like, well, dude, this is how long ago is 2009 now? Is that 15 years? It's like, bro, it's 15 years of getting movies. Like, believe me, it's like, it's not something you should really achieve. It's just a fact of collecting for that long. It happens. You're gonna accumulate stuff over 15 years. And when I say movies, of course, that's multi-genre. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we have movie shelves in the living room that is ostensibly non-horror stuff, like a lot of action stuff and sci-fi, comedy, and all that. So that's all genres and all that.
Mm.
Horror, I don't know, probably a couple thousand, maybe.
Oh no.
I may be undershooting it, dude. It's hard to say. Yeah, the spinner shelf holds about 500 movies there. I don't know how much is back there on those shelves. I got
Yeah.
movies in there. I got a shelf right here, a shelf right there. I got movies. It's a lot, dude. It's a lot. There's anybody that brags about having a huge collection. To me, it's kind of silly. It's like, what's okay? What does that mean? Are you going to tell me if you've told me you've watched everything you own, then I'd be impressed. Then I'd be impressed because that means like that means you watch everything you get. That's harder
Mm-hmm.
than collecting. Watching all your shit is 7 times as hard as just buying a bunch of movies, right?
Yeah, finding that time. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure. Well, speaking of, I did ask to bring your top 5 like favorite movies or pieces within your collection. So yeah, let's kind of start with that. Uh do you have those 5?
Well, collection pieces, they're in here. It's hard. Some of them are really big, Frank. So let me go to some movies first. I got some right here. Um, my favorite thing is when I see movies that I really love that are
Mm-hmm,
definitely cult movies, right?
mm-hmm.
Like movies that are genre stuff, horror genre stuff. When I find out about releases overseas that are just so cool, I fall in love with that sort of stuff. And this is one of my favorite ones I have. This is Return of the Living Dead Part 3 from Spain, and it was called Mortal Zombie in that
Yeah, I
market.
see that. Yeah.
And this was put out by Select Division, and it's just a really gorgeous. Let me see if I can get it out. It's a really cool release that is so like premium for a movie to me that is so special,
Oh, nice.
you know. And in America, you know, this would never happen for this caliber of title.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
4 discs? Wow. Or
three
no,
it's
3
yeah,
discs.
3
I see.
discs.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And yeah, it's just awesome. One of them's just a DVD of the movie,
Mm.
but yeah, this is one of my favorites. I remember doing a video about this, and it's just so funny how giddy I am with happiness that, you know, this cool cult title got this really cool release with all these images on it. And I had to get that on eBay, which I hate eBay. I hate using it, but I got that. One of the things I really love is one of my favorite or my favorite release last year. I'm a really big Charlie Band guy. Puppet Master was a very seminal movie for me. That was a movie that I got to see when I was little. Scared the, you
Mhm.
know, Chucky to me was never scary. The Puppet Master movies really freak because they're so. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. There's something so when you're a kid, the visual looks of those. There's like something so avant-garde or
Mhm.
something so foreign, like or something so nightmarish because it's so pop culture, the way they look. They truly look disturbing and weird and nightmarish, something a kid could dream up.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm a big Charlie Band fan. I became a huge fan, and I'm a big proponent of the early Full Moon stuff and a lot of the Empire catalog, which was this company before Full Moon. So this was a release that just truly made me happy last year.
I love that one. Yeah.
Yeah, this was amazing to me. And what I loved about it was the titles because there are titles in here that are some of my favorites. Dungeon Master, being one. Dungeon Master is truly one of my favorite Empire titles, most notably because it has early Wasp in here
Mhm.
performing in the movie, and I'm a huge Blackie Lawless fan. I'm a huge Wasp fan, and that's something that's so cool to me. And Cellar Dweller, which is a great creature feature that I tell people about. I was like, no, like this is actually a creature feature where you see the thing a lot in the movie, and you know, that's good stuff. Robot Jock. See, I like sci-fi movies too. So this is a really cool box set, and I thought Arrow just killed it. And being a big Charlie Band guy, like this was so amazing to me. I love that so much. And you know, it was really hard to get 5 because I love them all so much, but I found one that I definitely want to talk about. It's this one right here, dude. I'm gonna tell you about this. This is one of the most revolutionary physical media releases of all time. Is this right here? This was the 10 Friday box set. Now, for the people that will be like, well, Christian, wait a minute. There's a Scream Factory box set. Yeah, but you got the thing about me, Frank, you're going to learn is I'm very big on timing. I'm very big on history.
Mm-hmm.
Before that Scream Factory box set, before the Halloween Scream Factory box set as well, we had this. This was the one that broke the mold of this. This was the first time, Frank, I remember that what if actually happening. Before this, it was pipe dreams and just that dreams. Like, oh man, there's different studios that own some of these movies.
Mm-hmm.
It couldn't happen. This was the first time a what if actually happened. And I'm gonna tell you, man, I was on YouTube at this time. I was aware of things going on at this time. The Halloween excitement was something else when that box set from Scream Factory got announced. The Friday the 13th Scream Factory by something else. But there was a palpable feeling when this was announced. Like I haven't felt it since in this way because you can't re-experience that what if for the first time ever again.
Mm-hmm.
And the what if when this was announced was the most exciting time in physical media for me. When this was announced, it was truly an amazing moment for horror fans. And I still love this set. I mean, I think the set is a good set. I think the release is pretty quirky, but then again, that was kind of the way a lot of those old releases for Friday the 13th movies came out. Just the fact that it says Jason Goes to Hell on the front to represent the franchise, really, right? It's so quirky. And then you have Willa Ford on the inside, which a lot of people are like, that makes no sense. I'm like, well, she is in a Friday the 13th film, So, and that was the last one to come out. But my point is, this was such a big deal, dude. I mean, it was truly a great moment in time that people can look at it now and say, oh, well, this and that with Jason Goes to Hell and that being uncut. I get that. But man, the energy and the excitement. I remember watching Piz's videos talking about this, and dude, like I said, there may have been something with physical media before where these multi companies were coming together to do stuff, and I'm sure in other genres. I don't know about horror, but I'm just telling you, dude, the feeling was amazing because it hadn't happened before. So this is always gonna be one of my favorites. My favorite releases, always gonna be one of my favorites. Beyond that, it was hard for me to just single stuff out, man. I could tell you, like when I got Bride of Reanimator from Arrow, which is apparently an expensive release now because it was the chunky box. This is before they had all the hard box stuff. It wasn't really like a hard box. That opened my eyes to like, wow, like this is different kind of physical media. This isn't just a movie case and some discs. This is books and cards and documentaries and separate discs. It's like, wow, that really opened my eyes to what the collector's market was, and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot. I mean, and of course the Halloween Scream Factory box set is pivotal. I mean, that was really, really cool too.
Well, thank you for showing those beautiful releases. I really appreciate it. And that's one of the things too that what made me want to collect more movies is watching other people and the passion that comes through with how they're describing a release, the movie itself, and you just kind of get that that feeling. It's like, damn, if they like it this much, I want to get it, right?
Right.
And I know for me, I've gotten some comments like that, just how just excited I get because it's genuine. You can't really hide that, at least for me.
Excuse me.
Yeah, no problem. So you're a pretty big physical media channel, of course. What are the challenges of being a physical media collector, and how do those challenges relate to you as a YouTuber on your channel? So meaning is that the landscape of physical media, of course, has changed pretty damn drastically with this the releases are being removed from the stores physically.
Right.
A lot of it is that you have to tell people, besides going to the specific labels, is that hey, there's places like Diabolic DVD, Orbit DVD, so you're being more of a you're informing the audience of like
Right.
where to go and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, so instead of me just kind of saying that, like what are some of the challenges for you as a physical media content creator? How do those challenges how are they for you as a content creator, like with ideas and everything else that you know you're trying to tell the audience and stuff like that?
So, some of the challenges with that is number one, um, I try to keep a rigorous schedule. And sometimes that I'm sure I'm sure that can be very difficult with physical media because it's like, well, how many videos can I do a week when maybe there's only one release I just got that I want to talk about, blah, 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 blah. And one of the things that I do is, and I implore anybody to do this, if they're like, you know what, I just reviewed Trick or Treat from Synapse, and
Mm-hmm.
I really need to keep the channel kind of going. What do I do? I have nothing new. What do I do? I'm gonna tell you what I do, Frank. I walk in this room and I just kind of look around and I get inspired, or I have a conversation with somebody, just a conversation with somebody, and I get inspired by it. And I'm like, I want to talk about this. And it doesn't matter if it's a brand new release or it's something that's like super hot topic. Man, if there's something I'm just like, dude, you know what? That Anchor Bay Max Halloween DVD, like when that shit came out, that was, and I'll have a conversation with somebody about that, just talking to somebody on
Mm-hmm.
DMs or something. I'll come in here, I'll look for it, and I'll be like, dude, just get on the audio, just get on just turn the camera on, and dude, have that conversation with the audience that you just had with your buddy that you were
Mm-hmm.
so invested in, and like, because just to give you a step, I'll be like, dude, what I loved about that release was hearing Dee Snider's voice as the narrator on that documentary. It was so cool when he did such, and I'll talk about that. I'll talk about the release when it came out, where I got it, where I saw it. Dude, I'll get inspired about that. So I'll write this stuff down. I'll come in here, or I'll just come in here, man, and I'll look and I'll say, dude, I have all this stuff. This is all content, all of it. And the trick is not necessarily just trying to stay on top of new releases, because let me tell you something, Frank, you will drown trying to do that financially, and you will
Mm-hmm.
drown mentally, because odds are you are going to have to talk about some shit you really don't give a fuck about. But you know what, dude? You know what I did a video on today? A 20-year-old Dawn of the Dead DVD.
Mm-hmm.
And my audience enjoyed it. But ultimately, the reason they enjoyed it is because I enjoy it. And by me making videos about something I love, comes to find out I'm servicing my audience that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm able to save money, number one, by doing videos on stuff that I bought 12 years ago. But I'm like, you know what? That's content. That's history. I can make people excited about that. I can make them say, God damn, you know what? Just because it's DVD doesn't mean it's old news or it's worthless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know what? I missed out on that big ass Dawn of the Dead 4K box set. I don't want the slim one because it's not as cool. It's not as sexy. But you know what? That DVD Christian showed off of that 3-disc Anchor Bay one, that's pretty goddamn cool. And I can go online right now and get that for about $30, and that'll hold me over for a while. I'll feel good about that. I'll inspire people about that because I'm inspired by it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll come in here and I will just look around and say, dude, look at all this stuff. You're going to tell me you ain't got nothing to talk about today, Christian? So I'll do that, number one. And I implore people to do that, because you are going to get excited about certain things that are going to be different to you than it would be to me, but ultimately you'll have your audience into it. And I'll tell you this. This goes with what you're asking me in a sense, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper with it. You know, I have learned You cannot bullshit your viewers. They will chew you up and spit you out. Let me tell you, man, and you also can't win either. The big E shit thing. And
Yeah.
I understand this and I accept this. There's going to be people that probably come to my channel and watch what I have to say and think I'm full of shit. There are movies I truly love, and I can go out of my way to say, dude, I know this isn't a masterpiece, but you know what? I fucking love it. And people are going to say, like, I can't, this is ridiculous that you're saying this is good, blah, blah, blah. Or, like I said, dude, I, I, I'm not a huge Roman Polanski fan, but I was like, I'm gonna get this Tenet release because Vinegar Syndrome totally won me over, and they actually got him on the interview. Blah blah blah, dude. I got this release in, and there's a lot of channels that just open their mail on video. Not hating. If I knew I was gonna get a shit ton of views every time I did that, I would do it too. But the problem is, like, I've really established myself as somebody that reviews the movie. And you know
Mhm.
where I got that from, Frank? I'm gonna give him credit. Is Pisel.
Mhm.
Pisel has a lot of integrity. I've never seen Pisel just open his mail on video. And he's another one of my heroes, and I hope he hears this, because when I see Pisel, what he does is he really gives you an experience with his videos, and he takes you on a journey with his,
Mhm.
like, I got this movie called The Fear from Vinegar Syndrome, and he's talking about this movie, and I'm so intrigued by this movie, the way he's describing it. And sometimes I'll watch a movie that he talks about, I may not love it, but dude, you know what? Like I tie those movies with those experiences, and nothing is just, it's nothing with these movies to me is just like, okay, I'll watch this, it's bad. It's just like, yeah, I got that movie because Piz talked about it, and you know what? I see where I didn't love it, and it's all experience. There's this, it's all memories and history. I connect the dots probably too much with all this stuff, but my point is, he is a guy that, to me, he spoke to me with his integrity, and I was
Mhm.
like, I am going to always watch the movie and give the experience, because at the end of the day, Frank, I love physical media, and it's called physical media. So you're damn right. You want it to look sexy. You want it to look really cool. You want it to feel prestigious, especially if it's a movie you care about, because it's almost a little bit of validation. But I always want to let people know if I like the movie and how it made
Mhm.
me feel.
Mhm.
And not necessarily say, well, the pacing or the character development of this. No, no. How did it fucking make you feel? How did that movie make you feel, Frank? Don't
Mhm.
don't tell me, this movie had great character development, that the cinematography was good. Frank, what the fuck do any of us know about cinematography? Are you kidding me? Like, how does it make you feel? So that's what I learned from him. So that's another thing. So I make sure I go out of my way to give people my honest experience on watching a movie and stuff. But to the same point, dude, you're not going to win people over all the time, because I didn't realize that was Roman as the star of the movie. I had a guy say, "Dude, I got to be honest, like, you kind of seem like a fraud to me." And I responded back very nice, because, dude, Frank, when your channel continues to grow, and it will, because you make good videos, you got good stuff going for you, you're going to grow. Dude, you're putting yourself out there, and you have to be able to suck it up and take it.
Mhm.
And if you start being negative, if you start fighting back with people in the chat, it's bad optics too.
Yeah.
Even if that commenter is ridiculous,
Mhm.
and when that person was like, I said, listen, dude, I love the movie and I talked all about it. I didn't realize I was him. Like, I was like, you can cut me a little slack, and he actually was like, dude, I'm so, yeah, yeah, that's fair. But a lot of times that's gonna happen, and you have to deal with that. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to cover with this question. Um, how do whatever, and another thing that happens, Frank, is it's going to change eventually, because eh, you're going to start making ad revenue, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
Everybody wants to make ad revenue. It's honest. You're not asking people for money. You're just asking for their time. But with them giving you their time, you get a little bit of that ad revenue from Google.
Mhm.
And what happens is, once you start making it, dude, you're gonna feel obligated, because now you're gonna
Mhm.
use that money to take care of your family or fund your hobby, which is also good, because it puts more money towards your family and taking care of things. And so it gets stressful. I can't even lie to you. I get stressed out sometimes. especially if I have a good month. I want to try to maintain it. I want to try to build on it. So I
Mm-hmm.
got to make sure I'm doing videos that are prioritized. Can't even lie to you. There are times where I probably say I want to do this, but I was like, you know what? I got to have a good month. Let me do stuff that I know my audience loves. Let me give them this. Let me do this. Let me do this. I can't really take any risks right now. I got to do. So it becomes a job in a sense. It does. It becomes a job.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad thing. That's just reality.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yep.
you have to balance that. You have to balance it. But again, you got to cut me off because I will ramble, dude.
No, man, I love it because it's true. Especially when I always tell people, whenever I'm been interviewed and stuff, I'm honest. I say I don't understand because I've been on YouTube for almost 10 months, and at this time of this video, I'm almost at 2,000. And I was I am still surprised people actually watch me, subscribe to me. I know exactly what you're talking about with the monetization aspect of it. Um, but you're speaking the truth in all those type of different fronts.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, man. No, it's no joke. Especially since your channel continues to grow, you're thinking of the next big thing, what will hit. If it doesn't, then you take a step back and seeing what else you can do to increase that type of revenue, stuff like that. So, yeah, man, you're speaking the truth,
Yeah.
which I love.
I want
Um,
people, if anybody out there too that's watching this that kind of wants to do YouTube, I think it's good to know it, but you have to love doing it. You really do. Otherwise,
mm-hmm,
I mean, if I didn't love this, adios. I'd have been out of here a long time ago.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, thank you for staying.
You know,
I appreciate it. You're a big physical media guy, so obviously I have to ask, what's your favorite boutique label, and give me at least a couple movies from that label. Like you're one of your, it was a certain release from that label, or just anything, man.
dude, it's really tough to answer because depending on who puts out what last can right now the competition is so good, it's so easy to be swayed to that label.
Yep.
That's how tough the competition right. I'll say this. I think gun to the head, if you're gonna say who is the best label, the answer is Arrow Video, and I'll tell you why. They are the most down the middle, fair, balanced company. They really kind of are the blueprint. They do everything exactly how collectors want it for in a majority's sake. When they do collectors releases, people they don't want them books. They want a case. They want a movie case. They do the case, they give you the book, they give you that hard box that they love. And if you don't want that, you know in 3 months there's a standard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you why else Arrow's the best. They, for the most part, obviously licensing issues aside, with some stuff they can't do a Blu-ray. For the most part, when they get licenses to stuff, they have
Mm-hmm.
not abandoned their Blu-ray customers because I think that is crucial. And I'll be
Mm-hmm.
honest with you, there are times where I'll say, you know what? That's a 4K scan of the negative still in that Blu-ray. It's going to look pretty goddamn good. Why don't I save myself a couple bucks?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm sure I'll be happy watching it, especially if I put that 4K Blu-ray, 4K scan Blu-ray in a 4K TV on a 4K player. You know, it's probably going to look pretty close. So I think Arrow is the best. I think they have been extremely consistent, and a couple releases from them are, like I said, one of them is definitely the Empire Screams box set.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what release was really good, and I still feel a lot of people slept on it. I tried to talk to horror fans too that are just big horror fans. The Conan set was, I just thought, really good. I thought those movies looked absolutely incredible
Mm.
on 4K. I think Arrow having RoboCop was incredible because I don't think anybody could have done it better. Their RoboCop release was sensational. And I'm gonna tell you, man, those early days of Scream Factory, there was a magic to that time. I mean,
Mm.
really. because when they first came out, it was banger after banger. I mean, it really was, those Blu-ray releases, and it was so fun. Fun is the word to use to describe the early days of Scream Factory. Man, I was getting everything. They put it out. It was exciting. It was like, wait a minute, they're doing The Fog? Oh, hell yeah. What's next? They're doing They Live? Oh my God. Well, I think They Live might have came out before. And then it was just like, oh my God, they're getting Wes Craven titles now. They're doing Deadly Blessing. Oh man, they're doing that. Dude, it was just banger after banger after banger. It was so fun.
Mm-hmm.
That era was incredible. You know, I have problems with Scream Factory today, although they have improved big time, and I give them a lot of credit. They're finally giving, they're finally going out of their way to make sure that their repeat customers feel valued. Because the Shocker release, I noticed again, like they were like, okay, we're going to give them the better audio. We're going to make sure we put the 7-point, we're going to make sure we have new interviews. Even though there was a lot of stuff done on that Shocker Blu-ray, I had it. I mean, there's a lot of it. They got a lot of people, including Desmond Child. But they got 3 more interviews on this, and whether they're good or not, or whether they're, there's a lot to learn from those new interviews is debatable. But the fact is, I think there's an effort shown.
Yeah.
I give a lot of credit there, and I don't think people like to give credit to that. But I'm not going to abandon Scream Factory because of how fun they made collecting for a lot of people for a long time. I'm not going to abandon them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're still good. I think Scream Factory is still good. But man, there's a lot of competition today. My opinion could change next year, and I could tell you that Umbrella has become one of the top dogs for the super premium collectors market, which is a different market than collectors markets.
Yeah.
It's a good and a bad thing, but there's definitely a new market. It's called, I call it the super premium market.
Yeah.
It's becoming a thing.
Trademark that. Yeah.
But I think Arrow is the best.
Nice. Yeah, I love Second Sight, Arrow Video. I mean, for me, Second Sight is my favorite boutique label. A lot of people don't really look at like international, like in the sense of like Cape Light Pictures is a German label, and they put out some of the best restorations on 4Ks, and I love the media book style as well. So
it's weird. I was always interested why media book never really caught on in America. It existed, but it never really caught on.
Yeah,
because I love media books.
I do too.
I mean, it's like you don't have to pull the book out of the case. You just open the thing.
Exactly.
Like it just makes it skips a step. So I like that.
Yeah, no, I love it. I like the presentation of it. I like the unique art style that goes into it as well. So what is your favorite horror genre, and what's your favorite movie within that genre?
I got two favorites. The first favorite horror genre is horror comedy, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why I think it's the best subgenre.
I wasn't expecting that one. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. I'm gonna tell you exactly why, and I don't think the audience will disagree with me on this. When you do a horror comedy perfect, there's nothing more fun to watch. I'm gonna give you what the best one is. It's my favorite movie of all time. It's Return of the Living Dead. It's to me, that's about as perfect as a movie as you can get as a horror comedy. Just perfect. But when they're bad, they're bad. And the same exact thing of what I just said can be applied to my second favorite subgenre. That's found footage. When it's good, it's nothing like it. But when it's bad, there ain't nothing like it. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Hell
when they're
yeah.
bad, I think when you look at found footage, you have to look at to me, found footages are experiences. And people can say it's really not that scary, blah blah blah. But dude, the Blair Witch was one of the most amazing things. I remember when that movie came out. I don't know how old you are. I'm assuming you might be a few years older than me. I'm 32.
I'm 41. I was in high school in that time. That time it was incredible. incredible,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
man.
so you know even better than me, although we
Dude.
both experienced it, but Frank, Imma tell you, and you could tell me your end of it, 'cause I'm interested in this. I didn't see it in theaters because I was obviously I wasn't old enough to, but because of the nicheness of the internet in a family sense, meaning, you know, internet was obviously a thing, but it wasn't like a thing,
Mhm.
right? It was perceived as so real to a lot of us
Mhm.
that when we were at Blockbuster and I would walk past the movie section, the horror movie section, if I looked at the Blair Witch tape, if I started getting close to it, my mom would stop me. She goes, "No, no, no, do not mess with that." Because she had that in the back of her mind. What if that is real?
Mhm.
That's how real it was. My mom didn't want me to touch the or look at the VHS. She was that it was that that's the perception of how real that movie was. So, I mean, I look at that and you can't replicate that ever again. Never, ever.
Mhm.
You can try, but it's impossible. So,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's part of the beauty of that time period, of how the perception of it, of how real, quote unquote, that movie was, because it was huge news stories. Man, everyone was talking about it, word of mouth. Exactly what you were kind of saying with your mom. It's like, and if your mom or a parent is saying, don't see this, obviously it makes you want to see it. And because yeah, dude, seriously, it
amazing.
was bananas around that time. Again, I think I was a junior in high school, and I just remember all of us were talking about it. And that's it. That was my entry into found footage, was that film back in 99.
It's funny the parallels with us because that was your high school found footage movie. Mine, my senior year, was Paranormal Activity,
Mm,
and of course, it wasn't the same because I do remember everybody knew it was a movie, but
mhm,
there was this thing about Paranormal Activity at the time in high school where it's like everybody wanted to believe. Right,
mhm,
because it was a thing of, like, the devil, and dude, that theater experience people can shit on those movies all day, but let me tell you, man, that was an era. I'll you know what it was too? I didn't realize it at the time, but when that movie came out the year before, I'll never forget this, Frank. Put it to you like this, my freshman year of high school was 2005 or 6. Me and I just moved to where I was living. Me and all my new friends, we went to go see, Saw 3.
mm, mhm,
The next year, me and 4 or 5 of my friends went to go see Saw 4. The next year, I couldn't get anybody to see Saw 5 with me, but I was still in it. The next year, it was Paranormal Activity. I didn't realize it, but that was the end of the Saw era. The movies didn't necessarily end, but Paranormal Activity trampled it.
mm,
There was a new sheriff in town, and that was the start of that new era. I wish I was I wish I was aware of this at the time, that way I would have enjoyed it, just a little bit more. Because
mhm,
I saw the first 3 Paranormal Activities in theater, that was it. All the rest of them I saw on DVD months after they came out. But man, I wish I would have savored it more.
mm,
But dude, looking back, when Paranormal Activity came out, it was like the first year I went to go see Saw 3 with everybody. All my friends, we took up a whole row with my whole class. I remember in my financial math class senior year, everybody was like, "Let's all go to this damn thing." And all dude, it was insane. All of us packed, literally packed theater for it. I'll never forget it. That was my found footage high school experience. So it probably wasn't as good as Blair Witch, but it might have got somewhat close. I don't know.
mm.
You know?
I love that, man. Those, well, yeah, because I remember that damn time too. Because people, the hype. I just remember because it was like 5 years in a row. There was a damn Halloween. There was going to be a Saw movie. But yeah, the excitement for that franchise easily died off. And then, of course, the new sheriff in town, as you said, was Paranormal Activity, the realism. That's part of the thing I love about found footage, man. If it's a good one, it's memorable and it just captures you.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Frank, we are on the upswing again. There is going to be a found. I'm predicting there's going to be a found footage movie. See, what happens is this: they have a huge one that comes out, and then all the trailblazers, all the ones after it, some of them are good, some of them are bad, right? Then it goes away. And all of a sudden, another huge one comes out, Paranormal Activity, in essence. They kind of come out, then they go away. But I think what's happening right now is we're having found footage movies come back a little bit, and there's some good ones and stuff like that, and some of them are making a little bit of noise. But I predict it's going to be the opposite. Right now, we're getting the smaller ones, blah blah blah. They're coming out, and there's some good ones like Hell House Origins. Some of the I liked VHS Beyond. There's got these. There's going to be, in my opinion, in the next year or so, there's going to be a beluga whale found footage movie comes out that is going to cap off this upswing. It's going to be.
So.
I can feel it. I'm serious. I really can feel it. It's coming. It's going to be something revolutionary. It's going to I predict a new breed of a found footage movie, something that hasn't been done yet. We've done the Skype kind of calling stuff. We've done, and I'm going to tell you what I think it is. You ready? I'm going to tell you what I think this movie is going to be.
Oh, exclusive. Here we go.
It's going to be a Ring camera movie. It's gonna be with Ring cameras.
Yeah. I can see that.
And it's gonna be one of the most suspenseful things you've ever seen. I'm telling you, I can feel it. I can feel it's coming.
Love it, dude. That would be badass. I do think that you're right. I like even Frogman. I mean, people got their copies now from TerraVision and everything. I thought that was a good.
I enjoyed it.
I love the last third. I think that's also another thing is found footage films. Is that usually the end is so bonkers, so crazy. Like Frogman. If you guys haven't seen it, see it obviously. But yeah, the last third of that damn movie is just crazy, man. Oh my goodness! I wish I would have got that limited edition.
I did.
Set. Oh man, I just
it's so funny. It's so funny. I came with a shirt. It says MILF. Man, I love Frogman.
What?
And then come to find out, as I was watching the movie, all the stuff that you get in that bundle, you get a mug, you get a card that says "Welcome to Loveland." All the stuff that's in that box, it's props from the movie.
Oh man!
So there's you remember when they go shopping and store, there's the MILF shirt on the rack, and I was like, oh okay.
Oh dude, that's freaking awesome, man. That sold out so damn fast too. Oh my god!
You know, I just interviewed him, Brad, and what they're doing is they're making their releases experiences. Like I said, this super premium market, it's a new market. And I think it's taken off right now. I think we're kind of pushing the boundaries a little bit, which is not really a great thing, but it can be a great thing. What I mean by that is I don't think we should really. Obviously, the Texas Chainsaw thing was a disaster. It's a disaster, and they can't give them away. Quite frankly, even it's even worse with The people are unhappy, especially when they look. If I got this thing, I'd be more than happy to get a review. I would have been more than happy to get a review copy. I didn't, but I think people are upset when they just see people getting them and they're like, "This is great, buy it." And they're like, "Wait a minute, you're telling me to go buy a $300 plastic chainsaw? This isn't good." It's bad. It's bad for everybody. It's bad for the people that get them, and I get it. It's hard to get something sent to you and be like, "This is bullshit." It's hard, but at the same time, like it's tough. That's why I say I'm not hating. It's tough for all. It's tough for everybody. It's tough for the consumers. It's tough for the people that get it sent to them because they're put in a shitty position. People can shit on the people that get them, and they're like, "Guys, check this out. This is really cool." But it's like you can't. It's like if you get it sent to you, you don't want to just be like, "Dark Sky, you guys are idiots." I bought it, so I could. It just is.
Well, you made a follow-up video.
I called myself the idiot. I didn't call Dark Sky. I said I'm the idiot, right? And I'll be honest with you, Frank. I have talked to Dark Sky about it.
Yeah.
They definitely saw that video, and I have been in contact with them, and I'm gonna keep that private out of respect to them. But you know, we had a good conversation, and we saw each other's points of view on this, and I have it in good faith that they're not gonna do something like that again. Quite frankly, price wise,
Mm-hmm.
at least I hope not. But I got news for people. That thing will be 150 for Christmas.
Well,
You know?
the funny thing is that after that initial release, it was dropped down to, what was it, $200 at a convention. There was pictures of that as well after a couple weeks, right?
It was $100 cheaper, and that's where I got real upset. And
Yeah.
that's when they saw me, and
Yeah,
they talked to me. And you know, like I said, I'll keep it private out of respect to not divulging a conversation we had privately through emails. But
for sure.
yeah, they saw my point of view. That's all I'll
Mm-hmm.
say. They saw my point of view, and um I'm not support Dark Sky Films. I mean, the fact is they've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They're gonna want to make money off the property. Who wouldn't, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But my point, what I was getting at, Frank, with this is this super premium market now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new market, right? Because we're a niche thing. It's like it's a tug of war. It's a push and pull. Like, you can't abuse the customer base by trying to take things we love
Mm-hmm.
and ask this kind of price point for stuff like that. But it can be a good thing. And this is why I asked Brad from TerraVision about this. I was like, for what you guys charge for Rumpelstiltskin, those bundles, you guys had it was a bundle for less than $50 where you got the 4K, a Blu-ray, the movie case, the slipcover, in a hard box with posters and other stuff. I said, I'll be honest with you, like a lot of companies, if I ordered that from them, it's going to be $100.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you guys only charging 40 whatever? I said, does this say more about them or does it say more about you? And Brad eloquently and politely basically said, we want our stuff to be affordable for people, and I'll leave it
Mm-hmm.
at that. So you can
Mm-hmm.
take that with you can read between the lines with what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the good thing about TerraVision is with the way they're pricing their stuff, I think, it opens the door for more transparency and responsibility
Mm-hmm.
from these companies to say, oh shit, they're kind of letting the cat out of the bag when they're charging this, and you get to see what all they're getting for with that.
Well, if I'm being honest with you, again, we're both in the physical media landscape, discussing it and informing our viewers and everything else like that. If I'm being blunt, I think Dark Skies was testing the water of possibly what they could get away with, or just testing out the waters of a special, unique edition of a popular movie that I think just backfired. And so hopefully it's a learning experience, and this kind of go from there. But I spoke out about it. I didn't receive that unique edition, but still, it was, yeah,
And
definitely.
I definitely want to, yeah. And I agree with you. I really want to reiterate this because I don't feel like it's funny. There's no transparency on the way people feel on the other side of this. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to speak for them, but when you get sent something like that, you want to build a relationship with these companies. Now, I'll tell you this. This is not stuff I talk about, but like I said, we're going to establish this channel as a place of truth. Derek, the guy that I work with MVD,
Mm-hmm.
he has always told me when I get something, you be as effing honest as possible. Never lie.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking amazing that he tells me that. Don't ever lie. Be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's been stuff I've gotten, for instance, Trancers. When it came out from 4K,
a few years ago. Yeah.
it does not look like a 4K. And I know everybody's like, well, I can't tell the difference between Blu-ray and 4K. Well, you really wouldn't have been able to tell the difference between Trancers. And he told me, he goes, Christian, do not lie. Don't lie. And that's amazing. and we've got a great relationship that way, and that's so cool. And and there are times when I do videos about stuff that I talk about where I'll even say, listen, I was told, don't lie about this, guys. So what you're about to hear, this is it. But my point is, I people are quick to say stuff like, this is effing ridiculous. How you gonna tell us to buy this thing and it's a great deal and we should get it? It's a Fisher Price chainsaw there. I get it from a consumer point of view. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
guys are smart enough to see what's going on, but you know, I feel a little bit for some of the people that, you know, get these things sent to them and they're supposed to show them off. And it's just like,
Rock in a hard place.
you're
Yeah,
in
yeah,
a
yeah.
rock and a hard place. But at the same time, we still have responsibility. This is why I said earlier, Frank, if you lie to your audience, they will chew you up because they can tell when you're full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, they can. They will chew you up and they will spit you out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, dude, it's a balancing act. You gotta, you know, you have to ultimately know who butters your bread, and that's your viewers, not these companies.
For sure, man. Man, I could talk to you forever, man. This has been fantastic. Thank you so much for being on my channel. It's truly has been a blast and an honor because again, I've watched you, I already stated earlier that you've inspired me and some other content creators as well, just starting this channel. And so to interview you, thank you so much. And you joined one of my live streams earlier a few months ago as well. So again, just taking the time
Dude,
to
don't
from your
thank me.
day.
I
Yeah, man,
appreciate
I
you.
really appreciate it.
I appreciate the opportunity to be able to ramble. It's a lot easier for me to get more raw about stuff on somebody else's channel rather than mine.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just easier. I feel like it's therapy, you know, like so yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And I do hope there's something here that was talked about that can help somebody that wants to do this, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or has thought about doing this. Listen, you know, if you want to start, just do it now. Because if you do it now, you'll be X steps ahead. If you do it later on, when you finally get yourself in gear to do it,
Mm-hmm.
go, man. Just go for
Yeah,
it.
exactly. I mean, that's usually how I close this interview series is the giving advice to someone who wants to start their own YouTube channel. And then maybe someone who, what's the best advice someone has given you?
So the advice I would give if they're gonna do this, like being a physical media channel, it's pretty much what I've said earlier, and I really can't stress it enough. You have to be you cannot lie to your viewers. People are good at reading stuff, and they'll know if you're full of shit, and they'll know if you really aren't knowledgeable about something you're pretending to be knowledgeable about. And what that ultimately means on the flip side of that is, dude, yeah, talk about the stuff you really love. Because you have to like making these videos, and you have to make videos that you want to watch, you know? You have to just you have to love doing this for the love of making videos and putting them on
Mm-hmm.
the site. Because I can tell you, yeah, like I said earlier, it does get to a point down the road where it starts to become a part of your income, and you're gonna, um, you know, kind of make it become a routine of your life and be something you expect to maintain. But dude, I still love coming in here and hitting that red button and talking about, you know, like I said earlier, my favorite videos are when I get nerdy about these low budget movies that are called one thing, but for some reason in Germany it was called Return of the Living Dead, and I can't wait. That's what I love, man. And those are the videos that ultimately lead me to my success.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the videos of me opening up the Blu-ray that just came out where I beat 40 other people. That's not gonna build your audience. That's gonna give
Mm-hmm.
you quick views. You need to open yourself up and be a little vulnerable every now and again too, Frank. I tell people that, you know, let your audience know you're human every now and again. You know, let them know you just talk about some stuff. Do live if you do a live stream, you don't have to, you know, give your whole life away on camera, but every now and again, let your audience know what's going on with you. Let them know how you're feeling. Be honest with them, and just allow yourself to be vulnerable and make mistakes in front of them, and be willing to acknowledge that, because ultimately, if you're honest with your audience, that's what's going to connect them to you.
Mm.
And I'd like to think that hopefully that's one reason I've had people check me out and stick with me, because maybe they say to themselves, well, it's just a level of authenticity. I really think people are clamoring for just authenticity today.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's so fake. It's all bullshit. You turn on the TV, it's just all crap. It's all bullshit. And I think that's something that people are longing for. So that's my advice. You have to be you. I know it's all the cliche, silly shit. No, there's only one you, but you know what? There really is, man. There's only one Frank. There's only one Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And never think your videos are good enough. Always say to yourself, how can I improve this? How can I make this better? And it doesn't always have to be from a money standpoint either. It's like, okay, was that video entertaining? What could I have done to make it better? Do I need to slow down? Do I need to not talk so much about technical stuff? Do I need to make, like, why I don't like soundbite people. And that's the bad way to word it. I don't like when people just use all the soundbite stuff that you think you're supposed to use. I really think it's a detriment to growing a channel.
Doesn't seem authentic.
It doesn't. Again, I really think people just can smell bullshit when they see, like, if you're talking about a movie, dude. If you saw Long Legs, don't talk about the cinematography. Don't talk about this. Tell them how the movie made you feel. I swear, I think it goes way further. You'll hear the same thing from all. The cinematography was done. The pacing was well. I thought the character development was really good. You'll hear the same shit, Frank, on 1,000 channels. And it's not that people. I think it's like people think, well, I guess that's what I've got to say. I've got to say those things and I have to fill in the blanks on this and this. No. Did you guys feel like he was like a horror Tiny Tim? Did that kind of, what were you guys thinking when he showed up? Was that weird? And let people know how you feel. That's what's ultimately going to get you to have people come back to your channel.
Mm.
Let them, that's my advice. And I learned that the hard way. Because all the things I said that I don't like are the things I did. And I realized, what the fuck am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
That's my advice. And what was the second question?
I mean, damn, you gave a very in-depth answer. I mean, if you want, yeah, man. The other one was just basically, what was the best advice someone has given you in regards to being a YouTuber?
Pisel. Pisel taught me a valuable lesson. I kind of talked about this earlier. And anybody that grows a channel, you find out the hard way that people are just, you are not going to make everybody happy, and not everybody is going to like you, and that's okay. But this is what I'll tell you the story. I was having a hard time with YouTube around 2018. I just felt like everything I did was shit. I wasn't happy, and I was putting too much emphasis on comments. And there was a time where, man, I would upload a video and I would just get, like, before the intro could even be done, when it got uploaded, I already have like 4 or 5 dislikes immediately. Which isn't a thing, but like, it was just, it was really starting to get to me, and I would just get horrible comments about stuff like, dude, you really need to, like, improve this. This sucks. Like, your speech is bad, blah, blah, blah. I just get bad comments. I remember it was bothering me. And I remember I went to Piz, And I messaged Piz about this, and I was like, dude, how do you ever get this Piz? And because I always see Piz as just like everybody loves Piz, right? And I remember he's just like, listen, Christian, your channel's growing. You're gonna get that, man. I get it all the time. He goes, well, I'm gonna tell you something. This is the most valuable thing he taught me. He goes, those people that hate watch you, that want to just give you negative literally, you could be talking about little Bo Peep and do nothing wrong. He goes, they're fans. They're not they're fans. They gotta watch everything you do. And the switch flipped in my head. And I was like, he's right. They're watching everything. You can't pay for that. He's like, when he told me that, man, it flipped a switch in me, and I haven't looked back since. You can't help what people are going to say about you. They don't know if you had a bad day. They're not going to think, well, should I comment Christian looks like an idiot, or he looks like he has a wig on, or this. They don't think, I wonder if this guy had a bad day. They just say stuff about you, and that's part of being on the internet. But when he said that to me, he's like, Christian, they're watching everything you do religiously. They're your fans. I haven't looked back since. That's the best advice I got from YouTube. And that's the most important thing I can give anybody, because I don't care how nice you are. I don't care how of a genuine person you are. You're putting yourself on the internet. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Don't let it eat you up.
That's thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's a different perspective into all that. So thanks. Thanks, man. I really appreciate those last two being open, man. I really appreciate it. So thank you so much, Christian. Again, this has been fucking awesome.
Thank you. I really had a good time. I had a great time.
Yeah. So guys, all of his links, to his socials, to his Unita Candles website, his Patreon, all of that stuff will be down in the description section. So yeah, guys, thank you so much. And thank you again, Christian, for joining. I really do appreciate it. So
this is my pleasure.
Yeah. So thank you guys, and have a good one.